Now, I want to ask you to take your Bibles and go to Romans chapter 13 first this morning, all right? I want to mention one thing as we're getting started with the message this morning. First of all, I want to say a welcome to Servant's Heart Chapel in Clovis, New Mexico, and then additionally, this is one of the first Sundays that we have been joined by a new church as well, Cary Street Fellowship in Zanesville, Ohio. They are without a pastor right now, and so they contacted me and asked if they might be able to use our messages while they're in a search for a pastor right now. And so they're joining us for the next number of weeks, however long that is. And so you guys never met anybody in Zanesville, Ohio, but your brothers and sisters with them. And so here and in Clovis and in Zanesville, if you guys would you give a round of applause to your brothers and sisters and welcome them, because we're really glad that each one of you is here today. In Romans chapter 13, verse number 8, we get a crucial passage on love. This month we've been talking about I heart my neighbor. I love my neighbor. What does it mean to love your neighbor? What does it mean when you go out of your way to try to have that love in your heart? Even that guy that his trash blows in your yard, right? Because it's Oklahoma, and of course that could be like 5 blocks worth of trash blow into your yard, right? What does it mean to really love your neighbor? How important is that? I'm here to tell you this. I've got this very simple message this morning. I've got 3 things I want to tell you about love. First of all, the best, if you're taking notes, I should mention I've got notes on the back of your handout this morning. If the best use of life is love. The best use of life is love. Romans 13:8, Paul said this, "Let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. For he who loves his fellow man has fulfilled the law." Now that is a shocking statement, isn't it? You just love your neighbor and you fulfilled the law. That's a pretty dramatic statement. Now, how is it possible that Paul could say that if you just love people, you fulfilled the law? I thought there was a book this thick that told us all the law of God and everything about that He wants of us. Isn't that true? Yes, it is. It is true. There is a book in the Scriptures. It tells us these things. However, look at this. The commandments, he says in verse 9, do not commit adultery. Okay, no sexual activity outside of the marriage bond. Do not commit adultery. Do not murder. Do not steal. Do not covet. So coveting, that act of desiring something that belongs to someone else. Do not covet. And whatever other commandments there may be are summed up in this one rule: love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Isn't that a remarkable idea? That everything, all of the rules you want to name that could be good, this would be good to do this and this, all of them sum themselves up in one thing: love your neighbor like you love yourself. In other words, let me do what I want to go back to is my first statement. The best use of life is love. There's nothing higher, nothing greater, nothing more pressing or urgent for you to give your attention to than loving God with all your heart and loving your neighbor as yourself. There's nothing else that's more important than that. Now, I want you to talk back to me for a minute here, and I want you to give me things that people put before that. All right? Think about it. If love God and love your neighbor is the most important things, but we know that doesn't happen, right? Tell me what are some things that people put as more important than loving God and loving their neighbor? Material possessions, money, absolutely. Redefining love. That's true. That's helping neighbors. Well, that's part of loving, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Money. Oh my goodness. What about work? Material goods, or getting that next item. I don't know what it is. What is it for you? Maybe, you see, everybody's got their own set. No matter where you are on the socioeconomic spectrum, everybody's got their own set of the next thing that they got to have, right? So we might look at people who live up in Gaillardia and say, those people and their $200,000 cars. Oh my goodness, it's just horrible. It's just terrible. I just can't believe that somebody could covet something like that and just work to pay for a car that costs twice as much as my house. But you know what? On the south side, we have another set of things, don't we? I don't know, maybe it's stereos, maybe it's spinner rims. I don't know. I don't know what it is in your life. Maybe it's the new that new phone or that new iPad or that. I had a guy the other day who told me, he said, "Yeah, I got a big tax refund and I spent about $500 on DVDs." What? Wow. You see what I'm saying, right? It can be a huge, huge thing, or maybe if you're down in a lower socioeconomic thing, there's a temptation to put other things in front of love.
Yes, absolutely.
It's for me too. When I'm in the middle of something, let's say, and by the way, this is just for me. Maybe this is not you. It's just for me. Anybody besides me get annoyed when you're watching something and you get interrupted? Okay, thank you. All right, I'm not the only one. All right. You know what? For that moment, I am tempted to believe that the best use of my life is watching whatever it is I'm watching.
Right.
No, I am. I'm tempted to believe for that 30 seconds there, I'm tempted to believe that the best use of life is Netflix.
Yep.
Some people, you've seen them, some of you probably had a dad or a mom that was this way. They worked all the time. Even when the bills were paid, they're still at work. They're still just, because their identity was like wrapped up in who they were at work. The best use of life for them, work, right? That's where they got their identity. The best use of life, my friend, is not work or material possessions or that next item you need to buy. The best use of life is love. The best expression of love, if you're taking notes, you're right. The best expression of love is time. Best expression of love is time. Now you might be tempted to say, I was tempted when I was working on this message. I was really tempted to stop and say, well, I don't know if that's necessary. Maybe it's not the best. I mean, some other people have other love languages, right? If you've never read the book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, you really ought to read that. It's a powerful, powerful book. He talks about 5 different ways that people receive love, and one of them is quality time. And so I was tempted, well, I don't know if it's really the best. I mean, some people, it's gifts. Gifts is another way you can show love, right? You can give gifts, and but let me tell you something. If you've ever seen some families that they have everything they could possibly want, but their kids don't know their dad. You know what I'm saying? They've got everything they want. Whatever, if you name it in the toy aisle at Walmart, they could buy it. And their toy shelves are stocked, and their room is messy, and their closet is full of great clothes, but they don't know their mom and dad. Because they're gone to work all the time. I would just bet you that they'd trade 50% of the stuff they have for a few more hours of time.
Oh yeah.
You know what? Because the best expression of love often is giving of yourself, of your time. Because time is the stuff that life is made up of. And when you give time, you give your life to somebody. In fact, look at 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8. We loved you so much, Paul said to these Thessalonian Christians. We loved you so much that we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well, because you had become so dear to us. What's he saying? He's saying that it wasn't just about, look at the information I've got that I'm going to share with you. My role here is to dispense information to you. No, he said, I loved you so much that I didn't just want to give you information, I wanted to give you me with it. I didn't want to just teach you to do right. I wanted to come in and live with you and show you how to do right. When all is said and done, more is caught than taught, right? Right? When all is said and done, more is caught from your actions and your life than is taught from your mouth. You got to spend that time to show love. This week, this month, we've tried to labor together to show by our time, just going and giving of our strength. Last night, I talked with a lady 1 block north of here, who was going to be here this morning. She was one of the ladies that we were able to bless this week and do some lawn work for her. And she called yesterday, and we started talking back and forth, or she texted rather, and we started talking back and forth. And she had an aunt that had a stroke, and that has all of a sudden changed plans this morning, obviously, and she's at the hospital with her aunt. But as I was able to give her some food from the food pantry and talk with her and pray with her, I thought to myself, thank you, James and Adrian and Darrell Lee and Heath and the guys Caleb, the guys that was the crew that helped do that work. See, it gave us an open door because they shared their time. Just an hour, hour and a half. But all of a sudden there's an open door there, and you get a chance to be in somebody's life and come alongside somebody in a hard season, in a hard time. Because the best expression of love is time. Now, I think I am talking to somebody here, probably several somebodies, who you probably, if you were to sit down and look at your life, if we were to keep a time catalog of your life, and we were to add up the time spent sleeping and eating and working, and then you have that free time outside of those, because everybody's got to sleep, right? Everybody's got to eat, everybody's got to work. Then you have that free time. I think if we were to look at that free time and we were to add up what goes into that time, I'm guessing that you would probably find what? Help me out. Okay, some crumbs of time, that's true. What would you find filling that time, that discretionary time, that free time? What would you find filling it? Reading your Bible? Okay, good. I'm glad. I hope you're not alone in here, one. I hope you're not alone. I hope that more of us do that than just you and I. But what else? What do you usually find filling up that free time? Praying. Okay. All right. Good. Great. Trying to help other people. All right. You guys are awesome. Are you answering the way you think I want you to answer? That's good. Watching TV. Okay, I was waiting for it. Now, okay, how many of you had that one in your mind? You just hadn't said it yet. All right, 3 of you? Really? Okay, wow. The rest of you, I guess you don't. No, it's true. Seriously. Do you know how many hours a week, how much time per week the average American spends watching TV? It's astounding. It is mind-blowing. What else? Not just TV. Help me out. It's mind-robbing too. That's true. Video games. Thank you, Steve. Sleeping in a recliner. Okay. Facebook. All right. Not against any of these things on their own. I'm just saying. What? Technology. Yeah. I instinctively reached for my smartphone when they said that. Your phone. Anybody else find yourself just mindlessly like it's like Angry Birds, you know? Oh. Listen, hear me now. The best use of your life, I promise you, when you get to the end of your life and you look back at it, I promise you, nobody here will say, I wish I had spent more time on my phone. I promise you, nobody in this building will look back at your life and like, man, if I had only played one more game of Angry Birds, I think I could have had the high score. You know, nobody's going to say that. But you know what I do hear people saying when I am at somebody's bedside that is nearing the crossing over to the next world? I do hear people saying, I wish I had spent more time with the Lord. I wish I'd spent more time with my family. I wish I'd done more to help other people. I hear people saying that. Never hear people saying, I wish I'd spent more time at the office. Never. It just doesn't happen. More time at the office. Oh, if only. Why? Because the best use of life is love, and the best expression of love is time. And now the third one, the best time to love is now. The best use of your life, nothing higher than love. The best expression of your love is offering your life, your time, your presence, your help, your blessing to other people. And the best time to love is now. Some people have what I call someday sickness. You know what I'm saying? Any of you have someday sickness? Someday I'm gonna now grow up. All right, thank you. Yes for that. Someday I'm gonna make a difference. Someday I'm gonna help somebody. Someday when I get this, when I get that, when my ship comes in, you know, then I'm gonna. And I would tell you that the best time to show your love to your kids, to your family, to those people around you, to your neighbor across the street, there is no better time than now. Look at this, what Jesus said. I tell you who hear me, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. Anybody been mistreated in the last 6 months by somebody? If on Facebook, I see the drama unfold all the time, right? Seriously, oh my goodness. Right? What are we going to do? I know. Let's get them back, right? I say to you, Jesus says, bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. What's he saying? He's saying the best time to love is not someday when you get the right person. Oh, and the good people are going to come to me. God's going to send good people into my life. All around me is going to be good people. And then I'll love. Let me just tell you, I don't think you're going to be able to do it then. Because as the old saying goes, if Bob has a problem with everyone, Bob's the problem. It could be that when you think you're going to get to that place where then I can love everybody, it could be you need to read these next verses. If someone strikes you on one cheek, turn to him the other also. If someone takes your cloak, do not stop him from taking your tunic. Okay, it's a two-layered garment they used to wear. He's saying if somebody's going to take your outer garment, give him your second layer as well. Oh, did you need this also? Wow. This is crazy, isn't it? It's Jesus. Go give to everyone who asks you. And if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. And if you do good, listen to this now. If you do good to those who are good to you, I'm sorry, I skipped verse 32. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. That's not hard. That's kind of setting the bar way down at your shoe level, or your shoestring level right there. You don't even have to try to jump over that one. Even sinners love those who love them. And if you're good to those who are good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do that. Everybody knows that you can be nice to people who are nice to you. Verse 34, and if you lend to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners, expecting to be repaid in full. But love your enemies. Do good to them and lend to them without expecting to get anything back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High, because He is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Have you ever wondered, when you look at the news, or you listen to the news, or you pick up a newspaper, or you scroll through the headlines, have you ever wondered, why doesn't God judge these ungrateful, horrible people, these wicked people who are all over my news headlines this morning? Does that ever occur to you, anybody? Why does God not do something about this? This is why. Because He is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. There is a God in heaven who is sitting there giving breaths one at a time to every person who is being ungrateful and wicked this morning. Here you go. There's another breath. And there's another one. And there's another one. And He could withhold it at any moment, and instantly their life would end. But He's kind, even to the ungrateful and the wicked. So then, my friends, if the best use of life is love, and the best expression of love is time, and the best time to love is now, then maybe you need to look at your life. Maybe you need to look at your life, and you need to say, who do I need to love? Who do I need to spend time with? Now, I know that this is just a little aside here. This is a challenging thing, particularly when you have negative people who are tempting you to sin in your life.
Right.
And let me just be very clear that I am not talking about, just go hang out with them and go the places you always used to go and do the things you used to do. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Because you can't. Okay? If you're a believer, you're not going to be able to do those sets of things. I'm sorry. If you're following Christ, the old has passed away and the new has come. So there may be some relationships you have to cut off in the sense of, let's go hang out and drink something together. There may be that. But you know what? It doesn't mean that you have to be unkind or cruel or mad about it. You can be kind. You can bless those who curse you. You can do good and show love to those. Why not invite them over and sit down with them, have a great discussion, buy their meal, and don't do anything that used to be the way it was. You ever think about it? Show them. So maybe that's not a good idea for you in your situation. Maybe it's not. It might not be for Wanda. I hear you. But you know what? I'll just tell you this. Find a way to love the people God has put in front of you. Find a way to love the people God has put in front of you. There is no better time to love than right now. The best use of life is love. The best expression of love is time, and the best time to love is right now. Who do you have in front of you that you need to love? I want you to bow your heads with me together.